Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Viltrumics and Invincible Podcast here on the Aspect Network. I'm one of your hosts, Negan Fu, and joining me to discuss the latest and greatest in the world of Invincible is BreAnna Romero. Bree, what's up?
Man, what isn't up? I feel like I've had a crazy week. But again, Thursdays are such an amazing day for me because I get to end my crazy busy week and then I get to come home and watch an incredible episode of Invincible, and then I get to work from home tomorrow. So it's
Oh,
okay.
that's nice.
All
Yeah.
is good. Yeah, all is good in the world. Um, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Definitely a slow week, but my group and I won trivia on Tuesday,
Okay.
so that was that was very fulfilling as an endeavor.
What was the best trivia question?
Um, Well, I truly I only contributed like 3 or 4 answers in total, but
Oh,
um like they were like some questions I don't think anyone else on the team knew. One of them being, and we were the only group that got this one right, surprisingly. I can't remember exactly how the question was worded, but it was basically asking who Viola Davis plays in like the Suicide Squad movies, what
oh,
that character's name is.
I don't even
Uh,
know the answer to that, to be honest. I haven't seen those movies.
oh, never, none of them?
Uh-uh.
Oh. I as you know, as awful as the 2016 one is, like I think you just gotta watch it just to have seen it.
Is she only in that one?
No, she's in both. So, well,
Oh,
she pops up in a couple of the movies, I think, but she's in the original one and then the James Gunn one in 2021, which is actually good and worth watching. She's the same character in that.
interesting.
Very random trivia question,
Oh,
but
good one.
kind of niche. But yeah, so
My,
that was cool.
I also went to trivia this week. We didn't win though.
Oh, how did it go?
We didn't do terrible. We did pretty good. We were like fifth place maybe, which is high
Not
in
bad.
my book. But yeah.
What was any like really hard question?
None that I can think of. However, so the bar we go to, they give us like a face sheet, or not a face sheet. They one of the rounds they give us a piece of paper with pictures on it, and some of them are like, who is this person? Who is this
Hmm,
character? What is this show? So that round is really cool. But yeah, it was fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Fifth place,
Well,
fifth place is pretty good.
yeah. Yeah. Well, let's wrap up our personal conversations. We have so much to talk about. Today, we're recapping and reviewing the season finale of Invincible Season 2 with episode 8 titled I Thought You Were Stronger. So let's kick off this week's show just by jumping in with our overall thoughts. Megan, let me start with you. What did you think of this season finale?
I thought it was pretty crazy, and I think it in terms of just like the emotional impact um for like Mark's character, kind of the trajectory he goes on through the episode, and
Mhm.
how it's kind of the culmination of the season at large. That was really strong.
Mhm.
Um, I think obviously a lot of the action and excitement kind of happens in like the first half hour or so, the first half of the episode, and then there's just some cool stuff in the back half. Um, but definitely it's different, I think, than the last season finale, which kind of just escalates throughout the entire episode until kind of wraps up at the end. This one is split very differently.
Yeah.
Um, what did you think?
Well, I it was insane. I It's funny because like I know the kind of show that we're watching. I know that there's these really crazy moments. I know that season one finale was insane. There was a lot of blood and murder. Um, and so I just didn't really, I don't know. I came into this episode knowing all of those things, and I was still so surprised with like what we were given. And
Yeah.
I was surprised in a great way. I think it was a really great season finale. I think, like you said, the first 30 minutes were very action packed, um, very jaw dropping, very, I didn't know what was going to happen next. And then the back half tied up a lot of loose ends and opened up more plots to be explored in season three. So I thought overall it was like really successful. Um, and
Yeah.
definitely something like I'll be thinking about for a while. After I finished the episode, before I hopped on this, I went to Twitter right away because I wanted to see like what people were saying, what the official Invincible page was posting, and I don't know, it feels like this episode is going to be really impactful and going to kind of draw in an audience if people aren't already watching. Um,
Mhm.
and I know there's already like memes being made. So I don't know. I thought it was a really great episode.
I gotta ask because I haven't had Twitter on my phone for a while.
Huh?
What is the general response slash memes on Twitter?
Well, I think the general response is that this episode is just kind of heartbreaking in a way.
Yeah.
Um, just like seeing, and we'll talk about this more, but like seeing Mark kind of battle his inner demons in this episode. Um, so yeah, overall consensus is that it's really heartbreaking and crazy. And then one of the memes I saw, what was it? It was like, oh, it was, oh, what's his name? Oh my God, I'm blanking. Um,
What does he look like?
the old guy that is bald. He's like the head of the
Oh,
Guardian.
Cecil?
Yes. Oh my God, thank you. It's Cecil. Jeez, it's Cecil standing behind Mark after Mark comes home and Debbie's at the hospital. And Cecil goes, just go home. You're not him. But just that part is like taken out of context.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's one of the memes I've been
That's
seeing.
good.
But
I didn't even think about that when I was watching, but
no.
of course that makes sense.
Yeah. But
He
oh,
wouldn't say that to me though.
no,
Uh,
you're him.
I
You
am I am invincible. I am Mark Grayson.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, okay, that's pretty funny. Maybe I should guess the show's over now. The season's over. I should have jumped back on Twitter before these past 4 weeks, but that's
Yeah.
okay. When the boys comes back though, I think I might hop
Y-
back on.
Yeah. I just love seeing like what people are saying and like they always
Yeah.
cut like scenes out from, or not cut scenes out, but like they always take the scenes from the season or
Mhm.
from the freaking episode and, and put it online so you could rewatch it.
Yeah.
Did you have, I mean, besides the first like 30 minutes, besides the Angstrom Levy plot, did you have any like favorite moments in this episode?
Um, any anything with Adam Eve, I suppose, was a good moment.
Yeah.
But definitely, and we'll touch on it more. I'm a little sad they didn't do more in this episode, but anything with Omni-Man and Alan and
Mm.
that current prison story, which I thought would give us way more this episode, but I
Yeah.
think it was really focused on Mark, which is understandable, but I am
Mhm.
now kind of sad that, we have to wait for however long before we see more of that storyline unfold. But I really liked all the scenes, especially the very last scene.
Mhm. Definitely, I agree, first of all. And they definitely like did it in a way so that season three is like set up. Like we know what we're going to be addressing in season three. Uh,
Mhm.
and like I think it was an overall smart idea to tie up the Angstrom Levy plot in this season. However, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like Angstrom Levy's such like a presence, and like just having the ability to multiverse, to hop across multiverses, Versailles. I think that's just really powerful. So I don't know if like we are done with Angstrom Levy. What do you think?
Yeah, that's I wasn't sure. I didn't know what was gonna happen with this character.
Mhm.
So I was maybe a little surprised at his fate in this episode, and he does feel like a villain that has the potential to come back and be a still a major like force in the show, but yeah, I really have no idea what happened to them in the
Yeah, or
comics, and
maybe,
so
yeah, I mean, maybe it's just like his impact stays with Mark.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think maybe as a villain, his purpose is maybe just to serve Mark's character arc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
that would make sense too.
but there's a lot of cool stuff in like the first 30 minutes
Yeah.
involving the multiverse that we'll get into.
Yeah. I loved the title drop of this episode. I thought it was really funny. Uh, that
Yeah,
was a good
such
one.
a like a small moment of levity before the really just intense
Yeah,
emotional fight.
eased us into it.
That's who everyone watching the show really is. Just this guy that's on the run, out of breath.
Yeah. I also overall I thought Sterling K. Brown's voice acting was incredible. I mean, I mainly know Sterling K. Brown. I mean, I know who he is, obviously, but I watched him in This Is Us with my parents, and he
Right.
plays obviously such a different character in that show versus the character he voices in this show. And it's just like it's so incredible what an actor can portray with their voice. I
Mm,
just was like, I was terrified of Angstrom. His dialogue was very threatening. His
yeah.
tone, and just like knowing who Angstrom once was too. He was just a dad and a husband, makes him even scarier. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he did a really great job voice acting.
Yeah. Very, very threatening.
And
Very
then
intimidating.
I also again we've talked about this in the past. I love who they bring on to the cast in these episodes.
Mm,
Um, we'll talk about this more, but when we were in the dinosaur dimension, it was Jay Farrow was voicing one of the dinosaurs.
okay.
Gray Griffin was voicing another one, and then Zachary Quinto was voicing another one. And I just think that's so funny. Jay Farrow was in, I think, the first episode of this season, or maybe the fourth episode. So I don't know, it's so fun that they brought actors back to just voice these dinosaurs. And then we also see or hear, um, where did I write it down? I wrote it down somewhere. Oh, Clancy Brown. We hear him at one point. He voiced.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's amazing. It's amazing the people they get on this show.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of just characters in this episode. Some that kind of just cameo. Um, some of them are pretty cool. So when we come back, we'll be talking even more about some of our favorite moments and elements from the season 2 finale. We'll be right back.
Hey, Aspect listener, my name is Alex.
And I'm Kate, enjoying this show on the Aspect Network.
Then check out Bending the Narrative.
We are your one-stop shop for everything in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Each week, we go back and discuss your favorite episodes of the series with a particular focus on the characters and narrative threads that tie the series together.
In addition to discussing the original series, we also dive into other stories in the world of Avatar, like Legend of Korra, the live-action Netflix series, the books, the comics, and more.
Join us as we travel the globe with Team Avatar and discuss one of the greatest animated series of all time on Bending the Narrative here on the Aspect Network.
Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Viltrumics. Before the break, we discussed some of our overall thoughts on episode 8, but now we want to dive into specific parts of the episode we really enjoyed. So, Bree, we'll start with you this time. What were some of your favorite moments from I Thought You Were Stronger?
Oh my goodness, do we have so many favorite moments to discuss? And I don't know if this was my favorite moment, but seeing, Mark destroy Angstrom Levy was
Yeah.
a moment that had my jaw on the ground. I just wasn't expecting it. I knew that Angstrom was going to have to be defeated at some point. I didn't know how, I didn't know who, but as soon as I saw Angstrom Levy put a hand on Debbie, I kind of knew it was over for him and that something inside of Mark was gonna switch.
Yeah.
So that moment is just going to be so important for the remainder of this show and for Mark's character arc. And I think it's a moment people are going to remember, very similar to how people remember the Omni-Man and Mark fight from season 1. And a
Yeah.
lot of parallels between the two. So I think that's definitely a moment that sticks out to me.
Yeah. Wasn't it crazy when Enstrom just broke Debbie's arm?
Yes. Uh, uh, that was good. Yeah. Debbie is so cool and she was just standing up for her son and he freaking broke her arm. That's the part. That's when I texted you and our producer that this was an insane episode because I was just so taken aback by that happening.
It is very brutal for a character that's pretty innocent. Um, and I guess, yeah. Once that happened, I was waiting for Mark to like see it,
And
and
just
then
like
just see, yeah,
and just like hearing Oliver wailing in the
mm,
background, like that was brutal.
yeah. I was like, part of me thought that Oliver might like unlock some power, like a Jack thing.
Yeah, me too. I just
Wasn't sure if he was gonna like fucking. I don't know. I don't even know if I should have said that. I wasn't sure if he was going to freaking just punch Ainstrom or something, and Debbie would have been like, "Whoa!" Like, but no.
yeah. No, I also thought something was gonna happen with Oliver, but I think he's just still too little.
Yeah, he'll get there, I think.
I
But yeah, Ainstrom was just like picking him up by like his like heel.
yeah.
Just such
Brutal.
a irresponsible way to
Yeah,
hold a child.
and just like when Debbie was telling Angstrom that he is the villain in this dimension and he couldn't get it through his head that he was the villain, but he was literally holding this baby by his ankle. Like,
I know. He had just kind of lost it. Um, but understandably, we do get to see like these different versions of Mark where he kind of just joins his father. There's just some pretty brutal kills and like a brief montage. and it's pretty intense.
Yeah. I mean I guess I get Angstrom's anger, but gee,
Yeah.
I I don't know. It's like I don't understand. I do. They've explained it to us. They've showed us. But like Mark isn't evil. He's not the guy you think he is in this dimension.
Yeah, this Mark is cool.
Yeah, he's you.
It's really cool. Um, but probably the reason that it's so you know satisfying in a twisted way to see Mark just kind of beat up on Ainstrom is because there's so much like he's really just toying with him for like the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and just like setting him to dimension to dimension, and you definitely kind of start feeling frustrated for the character.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about all these different universes.
Yes,
There's a
I'm
couple
ready.
that are pretty cool. What do you think?
Yeah, I that was a lot of fun to go through these different dimensions and to see different characters from other superhero
Mm.
franchisees. What was your favorite dimension?
Well, I think the coolest one is obvious, and we'll talk about it in just a sec. But I did really appreciate the Walking Dead zombie universe, which I'm sure is this nod to the fact that Robert Kirkman, who created Invincible, also co-created The Walking Dead, which was comic to TV show adaptation, a huge hit. It's also funny because like, could those zombies even touch Mark? Was he actually in any danger? But they like kind of almost like they leave you in that scene and just long enough for it to feel like, oh shit, like
What's gonna happen?
he's surrounded by zombies,
Yeah,
even though he can't really die.
yeah,
But that was cool.
that was awesome. I want to make a show just so I can nod to other shows I've made in the past.
That is such a that's such a cool career flex.
Right? But let's talk about this Spider-Man
Yeah.
dimension. Are you ready?
Yes.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. And apparently I did look it up afterwards and it does happen in the comics. It's like a frame or two where you kind of see some of Spider-Man, so it's not like
It,
actually Spider-Man.
uh-huh.
Um
Is in the comics, is it like the red and black Spider-Man we know, or is it Agent
it
Spider-Man?
is, yeah. You see like a glimpse, I think, of like his
Oh.
hand and his foot, but like, with the red suit on. So
So
it's very obviously Spider-Man, yeah.
kind of like how we saw the glimpse of Batman in this.
Right, yes. Which I think also might happen in the comics as well, which is
Yeah, it does. It does.
yeah. But in the show he's called Agent Spider. And he has this different type of color design than like the more traditional Spider-Man. But he is voiced by Josh Keaton, who plays Spider-Man in The Spectacular Spider-Man, which is like I think it only lasted for a season or two, but it was from like 2007, 2008. I haven't seen it in a while, but it is a really fun adaptation of the character. And he
Yeah.
does also nod to the Spider-Verse movies by saying like, "Oh, I saw you come through a portal. I know you're from another dimension. I've had too much experience with that, especially lately." So it's a cool little interaction.
Yeah, I loved the workaround that they did to include, the nod to Spider-Man. I'm sure they couldn't actually include Spider-Man. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that also just opens a lot of opportunities in the future for like a real, like not real, but like a Peter Parker Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man. Um,
Mm.
just I mean, one, I don't know, maybe that would be cool. But I was very, very satisfied with what we saw and their little interaction with Prof Ock.
Yeah. Do you think there's any potential for a little crossover with the boys at some point?
Oh, oh, that would be. I think that would be awesome, but I don't know. I don't know if it would happen. I think they're just two totally different shows
Yeah.
in a way. I don't
No,
know.
yeah, they're very different, but who knows? Maybe there's a Homelander cameo in season 3.
All they need to destroy the Viltrumites is Homelander and Omni-Man to team up, and
Yeah.
that would be over.
Super Bros. Yeah,
But
it'd be too
yeah,
easy.
we mentioned we also saw a dimension with Batman. We saw a dimension with cavemen.
Yeah, it's very random.
Yeah, I thought it. Oh yes, there was also one that looked similar to the Mad Max franchise. I thought that was really interesting.
That was cool as well, yeah.
Do you think
I
that's
like
like
how
what they intended it for it to look like?
it's the first thing I thought of, like seeing the car, like the desert, and like even
Mhm.
the characters, the guys looked a little like Mad Max Fury Road-esque. So
Yeah.
I imagine like when they were designing it, or maybe it's I don't know if that one is also ripped straight from the comic or not, because obviously like when the comic was made, that would have been before at least the newest Mad Max.
Mhm.
Um, but either way, like it feels like it's supposed to be some sort of nod,
Yeah.
or they were like, what can we throw in this little montage that is just fun for us? Um, and I think just paying tribute to various properties, probably what they wanted to do. Um, but yeah, but Mark, uh, Mark eventually just overpowers Ainstrom and takes him out,
Yeah.
and it's kind of hype.
It's kind of hype until it's not so hype, and we see Mark start to spiral.
Mm. Yeah,
But
it really almost immediately just kind of affects him.
yeah, and I mean to bring it back to just seeing the Mark and Levy fight, it it just like shows us like how much power Mark has and what it
Mm.
takes to like get to that power.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like you said, immediately we see him kind of have this remorse for what he's done. Um, I don't think he expected it. I mean the title of the episode and Mark says it that he thought Angstrom Levy was stronger, which is just such a heartbreaking line,
yeah,
and so impactful. Just
yeah.
make
It's a really that's just a really great quote.
yeah.
Um, it's almost like his like him kind of trying to almost like reassure himself that like he only snapped because he thought he had the room to do that,
Mhm.
um and not like he's just senselessly killing someone who obviously can't take the full weight of his punches.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a really well timed
Mhm.
line and a great title for the episode.
Yeah. Well, and also a really great line of dialogue is before Mark starts to really beat up Angstrom Levy. He says, "You have no idea how much I've been holding back," which was
Yeah,
really chilling, and I think brings us back to when we saw the other dimensions where Mark was evil. I mean, he had such a presence, such an evil presence in those dimensions that it was like kind of scary to hear Mark say that.
yeah,
And you hope like he doesn't go to that place. And he does for a second, but I mean to defend himself, and then he brings himself out of it, but we can see that affecting him throughout the episode.
Yeah. And I think like having this beatdown come almost immediately after Mark gets whooped by Anissa in the previous episode, and after she threatens someone he loves right in front of him,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't have the power to take her. Like I
Mhm.
think it almost adds to like it almost makes it like more sense why like this fight with Angstrom would really push him and he would maybe like snap a little um because people he loved has been threatened and then he couldn't take Anissa, but
Yeah.
he probably can take Angstrom. Um so it's just good like episodic structure, I think.
Hmm. And at the end of the day, like I think he also has such complicated feelings about the Angstrom fight, because at the end of the day, Angstrom was just a husband and a dad
Yeah.
who saw Mark do these terrible, terrible things. And so it's hard to compare Angstrom and Anissa in a way.
Yeah, definitely two very different characters.
Two different reasons as to why they
Right.
killed Mark.
Antrim is like borderline almost empathetic as a villain. But he's clearly just so far gone at this point
Yeah,
that you are rooting for Mark to
yeah,
win.
yeah. And yeah, at the end of, of it, I was like, yeah, you get him, Mark. And then and then you immediately see Mark regret it and you're like, damn. Like the just
Mhm.
Mark trying to talk himself down and like repeating that he made me do it. I felt so bad for him. Um that was a hard watch immediately. I felt
Yeah. It definitely feels like a normal or justified reaction from someone who is, despite the things he's been through, like he's been raised as like a human on Earth his whole life, and he has never taken a life. And then so once you finally cross that line, especially for someone who is as genuinely like just a good-hearted person as Mark, it's got to be like traumatizing to go there.
yeah. Yeah. Um And then we think he's stranded for a little bit. I was worried. I was like, I have no idea how this man is gonna get back to Earth.
I know. I thought he was gonna fly somewhere until he finds someone that is like a portal gun. But luckily, perhaps a little conveniently, uh, he's saved pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I was not expecting to see these older versions of the
Yeah,
Guardian book. That was cool. That was really cool.
it was cool. And we get the first interesting, well, I guess it's really the second interesting quote unquote reveal is that we see this, older version of robot, and
Mhm.
he uses like this portal machine to send Mark back, and then we see him take off his like robot helmet, uh, and Eve refers to him as Rex,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. Like, is he supposed to be like Rex Splode and for in like a robot costume, or obviously we know Rudy is uses Rex DNA and is essentially a clone of him. And does he just go by Rex now? I don't know. It's interesting how they keep it kind of vague.
Yeah, and And what's even more interesting is that the Rex we know isn't in this episode at all. But when the credits roll, it's credited as Rex. So
Okay. That is interesting.
yeah, so very interesting little plot point we have planted right in front of us. But I don't
Yeah, I
know.
wonder if
I
we'll
guess
if we'll see those guys again.
I know. I'm like, do we have to wait till season 52? Is that gonna? And I mean, I'm there.
Right.
We will record a podcast for it.
Yeah. I'll check my calendar for, you know, 20 2063,
Yeah,
but I should be available.
yeah. I think maybe me too.
Uh,
But we
but I
also.
think
Oh, you go ahead.
well, you're probably about to get on the same point. I think most importantly,
Oh yes,
we see an older version of Adam Eve,
with some
and
hair, queen.
right before Mark is sent back, she just confesses her love for him and says that she's loved him for a long time and she just never said it, and then he disappeared. She was devastated, and she basically just tells Mark like he needs to go tell young Adam Eve that either he loves her or that he doesn't, just so she gets some sort of closure and can proceed from there.
Yeah,
Um, but a
that
huge moment for Team Me fans.
yeah, that made my heart sore. I thought I did not think that's what she was gonna tell Mark when she flew over. I thought she was gonna fly over and tell Mark like not to destroy the world or something, but instead
Mm,
she tells him that she loves him, and that was that was all I needed, to be honest.
yeah, that again, I probably just the best kicking my feet and giggling moment of the episode, maybe of the season.
Yeah. Well, and now
Um,
we just have to wait for Mark to that be a big boy
yeah.
and tell Eve how he feels. Uh,
To be fair, I guess he has gone through a lot. Like he's trying to figure
uh,
himself out.
yeah.
Um, but as Eve says to him later in the episode, I think at the end, she's like, if you need a shoulder to lean on, I have two.
That was sweet. Ah, but
Yeah,
that was a
really
really,
cool.
really good moment with the older versions of the Guardians of the Globe. And then I also want to talk to you about the two random people. Who were
Yes.
these people? First of all, why do they look so old? I mean, Bulletproof, everyone looks a little bit older, but those people look especially old and they didn't do anything.
I bet it's like they're just planting some seeds and like we'll see the young versions either next season or 2 seasons from now, and then we'll be like, oh, they actually
I don't want
popped up in
to
that
wait.
moment.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'll do a deep dive without
yeah.
spoiling anything for myself somehow.
I'm sure they have first and last names, full backstories, how they
Yeah.
got their powers.
It's just like, who are
Uh,
these old people?
yeah. I suppose it's like a nice touch though. Even if hypothetically we never saw those characters again, it's like a nice touch to imply like of course the team would change and shift, you know, in the 20 years that Mark has been like missing from that earth.
Uh-huh. Well, okay. I guess Robert Kirkman, if you're listening, Negan doesn't care if you address those two old people, but I need to address them immediately. I need to know who they are. So please and thank you. Or else, or else, I'll leave it at that.
That's all you need to leave it at, really. I think what I do need Robert Kirkman in the show to address is this like pair of archaeologists, like something that they go into this Egyptian tomb and they actually awaken this like Egyptian god. I think his name is Kahor.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh, he was like, I need male hosts to be resurrected." What was that?
What? What? I have no idea, but I literally was like, are we in a new TV show? I don't understand what is going on. Um, so I'm excited to get that addressed at some point.
Yeah, that definitely feels like there's no way it's just in there as just some like gag or some like
'Cause
random thing.
they always like have those like interesting side characters for a second, but like they usually tie it like it's just really quick, like it's addressed and it's done. But like this was not addressed in any kind of way, and now we're just left with this weird anti-feminist Egyptian god man.
Yeah, it's it's definitely just a very weird like segment. Um, that I watched the episode twice, second time to like take notes, and I'm still just like, why did that happen? Um, Again, like I'm sure it's they're planting the seeds for something that will pay off. Who knows how far from now? Um, but someone who hasn't read the comics, like just seeing that scene, which it seems decently important to like the characters, uh, like they're on those girls are on a mission for sure. Like it's just odd. It's just very like it's the most like perplexing moment of the episode for sure. And I'm
Yes,
just so
definitely.
curious to see how that pays off.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
My dog Nico was not a fan of Kahor being or is that how you say it? I don't, Kahor?
Kahor.
My God.
No, actually,
Um,
probably it's I don't know. Say it with like a cooler accent that makes it sound more
and
less Kahor.
well, thanks. And we're back, everybody. Don't worry, we're back. Let's,
And we're back.
now that we're back, let's talk about the Angstrom aftermath.
Yeah, so we get kind of a fun or not fun, but like a small moment between Mark and Cecil where Mark is, you know, kind of going through this crisis about the fact that he crossed the line and killed someone. And Cecil being kind of this kind of stone cold, heartless guy that he is, he's basically like, no, like you did the right thing. You know, that was the bad guy. Like bad
Mhm.
guys don't just break people's arms. He was like, and you're not your father. Which I feel like he tells Mark every other episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that was again, it's just so devastating to see what Mark is going through, even though everyone is telling like him he's not like his father. What happened with Angstrom is not his fault. He just can't understand that. I mean, like he said, he tells Cecil that Cecil wasn't there. He didn't see how
Yeah,
he killed Angstrom. And again, like there was just so many parallels to what we saw in the finale of season one with
yeah,
Omni-Man and Mark that it is creepy how similar they are.
yeah. No, it's really it's interesting to see Mark really use his powers and how easy it is for him to just kind of lose control if he's not careful. And obviously Mark has a lot of feelings about it, and he tells Debbie that he's gonna drop out of college because there's really no point, and he needs to focus on bettering himself as like a person, as a hero, as a superpowered being. So seems
Yeah,
like he's just done with education.
yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And for a second, I was like, Debbie, like, college doesn't matter. Like, he's gonna be fine. Fully as a person who attended and graduated from college. But for a second, I was like, come on, Debbie, like, cut
Yeah,
us some slack. But I think at the end of the day, Debbie just wants Mark to have a normal life in a way.
yeah,
I know she knows that he can't give up this superhero side of himself, but I think she tries her best to keep him
right.
semi-normal. So I get why she was trying so hard to convince him not to, but
College is cool. It is a
yeah,
fun time. But I mean, it's not like he needs to like meet any girls there because he already has the coolest one.
yeah,
Just just a short flight away. Um, we do also see Mark hover and spy on Amber a little bit, and then he disappears, doesn't talk to her. But it's also kind of sad that he almost goes there like for some sort of normalcy or comfort, but
yeah.
he just knows he can't get involved in her life again.
Yeah, that was pretty sad to see. Um, but I also want to talk about Mark and Debbie's sick matching black eyes. I was like, wow, they really have the same exact injury going
It
on.
it does go kind of hard.
Cool mom and son moment.
Yeah, good photo op for the two. Good I don't know if Debbie's on Facebook. She seems like she probably would be.
Oh, for sure.
Feels like a good Facebook post.
Yeah. She's probably on Instagram too. She'd probably do like the double post. She'd probably post to Instagram and Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be like
Do that thing that what were you gonna say?
it'd be captioned something like "Love my son." Haha. Matching black eye. Hashtag matching.
Some like the twins emoji or
Oh my god.
something.
Twinsies.
She would do that thing. She's like supposed to be like a I guess a Gen Xer. Probably has like 46 followers on Instagram,
I would
and
follow.
she, posts like almost directly back to back posts, like two or three of them. None of them know how to use like the carousel feature to put just multiple images.
Yeah.
Um,
Her
I would
her
also follow her.
her bio is like mom of a superhero. Recently divorced. Single and
Also,
miserable.
in, mom, ex-wife, realtor, new mom. There's definitely Oliver's probably on there or something now. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Let's
it'd be
get
a fun Instagram. Yeah.
before we hop into Omni-Man and Alan, let's talk about the other couple the other reveals we had from our Guardians of the Globe. Um, we
Yes.
we we see Immortal coming back from a hunt in the snow.
Fishing, something like that.
Yeah.
Something manly.
Yeah, we see him come back from being a man, and Kate jump scare, jump scare. Kate is there.
She's back.
I Again, was not expecting that.
Me neither. I thought she was gone for good.
Yeah. And I thought we'd, you know, cleansed our hands of her.
Yeah. But it did answer a question I think I
Yeah,
posed like a couple episodes ago that I was like, if you had that power, like wouldn't you keep one version of yourself tucked away somewhere so that if all of you get killed, you're still alive? And that's what she did.
she did. She did think ahead.
She's smart. She's smart.
But that makes me
Um,
really happy for Immortal. I thought it was really heartwarming to see him hug her and tell her that it was okay that she didn't tell him. So I'm excited to see where they go, if anywhere. Maybe they just stay in the cabin and fish for the rest of their lives.
I know it really is a weird like they really want us to just empathize with this immortal guy and he's like a real person.
With a really great superhero voice.
Yes, with a very over the top cartoon superhero voice. Um, but it is kind of a sweet moment between them.
Well, and speaking of like where their story is going to go, they weren't with the older Guardians of the Globe.
That's true.
So maybe they do peace out from being a superhero because Kate said she was thinking about running away. Immortal has been thinking about it. So I hope it's a happy ending for them.
I'm a little surprised we didn't see Immortal uh bite the dust this episode. Thought maybe he would get decapitated again or something.
I know. I'm happy for him.
I think he's living a nice life right now, but something tells me he'll get back in the game sooner than later.
I think so too. But speaking of love and couples, we see Rudy and Monster Girl kind of talk it out over a PB&J.
Yeah. And it goes pretty well. It's she's kind of chill about it this time. Um, and Rudy kind of apologizes for just being annoying.
Yeah, I thought that was nice. A good way to get us ready for what their relationship is like in season 3.
Yeah. What do you think they'll get up to in season 3?
Um, I think we'll make some advancements in not or in preventing Monster Girl to de-age every time she transforms, perhaps.
Mm,
Maybe Rudy will be more normal.
yeah. Imagine it takes him a while to figure out the cure, and she gets all the way down to like age 8 or something. And he's
I
like,
want to see baby Monster Girl.
and I guess he either just has to to wait a little bit, where the age gap's no longer weird, or he just transfers
Oh,
himself to an 8-year-old Rudy.
whoa. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where their relationship is gonna go, but I think Rudy is a very important piece to the Guardians of the Globe. So, I mean,
Yes.
I hope he realizes that.
I think, and we talked about it last episode, like the character of Robot is kind of sidelined a lot this season, but I know he's like a major character, and I think he'll definitely do more. Probably, hopefully, in season 3. But
Yeah, I guess, speaking or transitioning to Omni-Man, do we think the Guardians of the Globe are going to be involved in that fight at all?
um, like busting him out of prison.
No. I guess the answer is yes. Like ultimately they would be involved in the Viltrumite fight.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it'll be really interesting to kind of see how that unfolds.
Yeah. But we see Omni-Man. We see him getting beat up by General Krieg. But then
Yeah,
we see
General
Alan,
Krieg.
our
Yeah,
saving grace, Alan.
Alan's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
I love his personality. No matter what situation he is in, he always looks at the bright side of it.
yeah, he definitely he remains pretty calm and generally unbothered.
Yeah. I'm sure he gives Omni-Man a glint of hope as he passes him that first time. But when we come back, we're gonna discuss the post-credit scene and where we think the show will go in season 3. So we'll be right back.
Hey, Aspect listener, my name is Alex.
And I'm Kate, enjoying this show on the Aspect Network.
Then check out Bending the Narrative.
We are your one-stop shop for everything in the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Each week, we go back and discuss your favorite episodes of the series with a particular focus on the characters and narrative threads that tie the series together.
In addition to discussing the original series, we also dive into other stories in the world of Avatar, like Legend of Korra, the live-action Netflix series, the books, the comics, and more.
Join us as we travel the globe with Team Avatar and discuss one of the greatest animated series of all time on Bending the Narrative here on the Aspect Network.
Now, back to the show.
Welcome back to Viltrumics. To wrap up this episode, we wanted to discuss in more detail about the mid-credits scene with Omni-Man and Alan planning their escape from the Viltrumite prison and where we will go from here in season 3. Negan, what is going to happen next? Tell me.
I think that once we hopefully season 3 isn't hopefully there's not as much of a wait for season 3 as there was for season 2, and I'm pretty sure Steven Yeun and maybe one of the producers has said that they're already into season 3. So maybe in a perfect world we'll have season 3 by like the fall or maybe like about a year from now. But hopefully it's not like the 2.5 year wait that the gap from season 1 to season 2 was. But
I hope not.
yeah. Otherwise I don't really know what to do with myself. Do you think that we'll just kind of jump straight into like a prison breakout pretty immediately into season 3?
I think so. I feel like it would make the most sense. But I mean, I guess they still have to like plan something. Like what is the plan
Right.
between Alan and Omni-Man?
Just team up and body all the Viltrumites on that ship.
Yeah, like that feels like it needs some planning.
It does.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see Mark. I don't know, man. It's unpredictable. It's always so unpredictable, but I definitely think in the first episode we'll see some sort of attempt to break out of prison.
Yeah. I guess they would still kind of have to be a little sneaky about it.
Well, and do you think like is it just gonna be Alan and Omni-Man? breaking them out of jail, or is the Viltrumite that we were introduced to last episode going to come and help? Are they somehow going to contact Mark, even though Omni-Man said not to?
Ooh,
Like, I just can't imagine it's going to be Alan and Omni-Man. As powerful as they are.
they definitely seemed a little outgunned. Uh, but honestly, who knows? I'm a little let down that we didn't get to see that payoff in this episode. Um, Truly, like Nolan doesn't have a ton of scenes in season 2 in general.
No, he doesn't. I mean, he has the very important first episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like I think he'll have a bigger presence in season 3.
Oh yeah, I think so. I hope so. I think they'll just do even more with the Viltrumites next season and every season after that. Yeah, I hope so because I J.K. Simmons has such a good presence in the show, like just with his voice, and I think it was definitely that's what the season 2 was kind of lacking for a lot of it. Um, so I hope we get to hear more of him.
Yeah, see, hearing J.K. Simmons and Seth Rogen together is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love that Alan just refers to him as bro.
Me too. It's so just of his character to do that.
Yeah, I hope like he just when we see them like fight General Krieg or whatever, I hope Alan's just like just chill out, bro.
And Omni-Man just like grunting and yelling. Well, and that
He,
also reminds me, I mean, Omni-Man says that he deserves death for what he did.
yeah.
What does that like? What do we think that means for his life?
Well, I think that him joining like the coalition um will be kind of his way of like paying his dues. Uh
Yeah.
and I don't think he's a character that believes that he can redeem himself,
Uh-huh.
but I think that he will be convinced to just kind of somewhat try and make up for his actions on Earth by joining the fight. Um, and it's gonna be so epic.
We have some high hopes for Omni-Man. I really hope he does redeem himself in the way that we want him to.
So I gotta ask, what do you think his that eventual interaction with Debbie looks like if it happens at all in the future?
I I I don't think Debbie is gonna be very warm to him at first.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna be rightfully so very angry and confused. And I feel like she has, I mean, we saw her say yes to a date with her coworker.
That's true.
She has started to raise Oliver. Her job is back to where it once was. I
Yep.
think it's maybe better. And so I think like she doesn't need him anymore. And
No, yeah.
and so I'm curious if Debbie does decide that she's done with Nolan and she doesn't want anything to do with him. I wonder if that is going to affect Omni-Man in a very negative way.
We might get another little sad montage next season where he's just kind of drifting.
Yeah, I don't think we addressed the Mark montage. That was really, really great. Did
Yeah,
we?
trying now, I'm trying to remember at what point in the episode that we jump into his montage.
It was.
Okay, we do see him like
It,
watch Amber.
yeah, it's in that. I thought that was, and it replays like all those moments.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Great montage. Invincible, great show of montages.
There is usually one per episode.
That's what I'll be expecting in
Yeah. It's
episode
like
1 of season 3.
it's like
Oh,
when you watch like Phineas and Ferb and each episode will have a musical number.
yeah.
It's like that. Um so how does this season let's talk about specifically the finale. How does this final episode of season 2 stack up against the final episode of season 1 for you?
That's a great question, and I've kind of been trying to think of my answer, but I mean, I think they're both really great. I think season 1 finale is just so iconic in a
Yeah.
way. Um, in all of season 1, the season 1 first episode is iconic. We didn't it just changes the finale of season 1 changes so much of what
Yeah.
the story is. And I don't think the finale of season 2 changes anything in a big way.
It doesn't maybe feel as impactful.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I mean I think that season 1 finale, like we just kind of jump in and then it never lets up until it kind of culminates in this big emotional climax. That is still one of, if not the show's best scenes.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I can't say that the season 2 finale, as entertaining as it is and as mostly exciting as it is, I can't say it lands as well as the season 1 finale. Um, but overall, like it caps off the season pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we addressed a lot of things. We tied up the plot with Angstrom Levy of as much as we know we have. Um, Great episode of television, but yeah, I mean, I guess I've come to my answer that it doesn't stack up against season 1 finale.
Yeah, that one could be hard to beat. Um, how
What?
does the season? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go. I think you're gonna ask the same question.
Oh, well, how does the season at large, as a whole, all 8 episodes, stack up against season 1?
Well, it's so hard because I feel like I haven't I had to wait so long to see part 2 that it feels like 2 totally different seasons. But
Yeah, I'd be curious to binge season 2 front to back and in like a couple days.
yeah, I hmm. I feel like they're pretty comparable if you take out obviously the first episode and the last episode of season 1. I think the
Yeah.
first episode of season 2 is awesome and also very very revealing. Um but I think the, middle episodes, I think those are pretty comparable. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this season, especially with the hiatus, definitely made more of an effort to
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of like high stakes episode to episode. Um, feels like there's just more going on, and there is. Uh, for better or for worse, I think season 1 is way more focused as a single season. of television, and season 2 is juggling way more, and sometimes it can feel a little disjointed, in my opinion. But I would say overall, like episode to episode, season 2 is maybe a little more exciting. But I think possibly as an overall season, probably the first season is just a little cleaner.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think that goes for a lot of television. They put their all into season one, you know? And I think we're just we're learning the characters, we're learning the world in season one, so we're just so every episode, like a new piece of information is revealed. So,
Yeah.
at what do you think, or I guess at what point do you think the Sequids are gonna come back in season?
Well, I mean, I suppose the Engstrom storyline wrapped up pretty quick, as far as we know. Um, I would say it doesn't seem like a well, honestly, it could be like the opener to season 3 is like, oh, that threat that happened a while ago is back, and then maybe they resolve it in the kind of the B plot of that episode is like the
Mhm.
Nolan stuff and the Viltrumites. I could see that happening. I could also see them waiting till like season 3, episode 2 or episode 3, but hopefully within the first few episodes. It's just stressing me out that that's just an unresolved like conflict.
Yeah, I don't it they have to keep the plots going though if they want to keep the show going. So we have to put our trust in Robert.
Yeah. Um, you know who we didn't see this season, who I know has a lot to do in the comics, and we see him in season 1. I don't know if you remember, but Battle Beast,
Oh,
who is like it's like in season 1, episode 6, maybe. He's like this big, like kind of lion humanoid
yes, yeah,
creature
yeah.
that just whoops Mark. And in the comics, he's like one of the strongest characters in that universe.
Huh?
And at the end of season 1, when Mark is thinking about, when we kind of see this quick montage of all these threats, all these like plot threads, he's included in that. And so, but we don't see him at all this season. Um, but I know he does a lot in the comics, so maybe we'll see more of him in
Yeah,
season 3.
we also haven't seen the Mauler twins in a while, I think.
Yeah, we haven't seen them in a few episodes. We don't get any kind of weird like resolution or like indication of what they're going to be up to next season.
We saw their last the last time we saw them was episode 4 of season 2. So it's been a while. What are they up to?
Oh, has it really been that long?
Hmm.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. They're planting a lot of seeds, and then I think who knows kind of the order of which these will come back into play. Um, there's also that guy in season 1 that kind of betrays Mark in the episode Battle Beast. Uh, what is his name like Titan or he can like turn his body into like rock or something?
Oh,
I'm going to look it up.
Mock? No, that's
No, it is Titan.
oh, that's oh yes.
Um, yeah, we also see him in the season 1 like kind of last montage as he's like seems like he's kind of taking over some like crime, uh, organized crime, in the city, but he does not pop up in season 3 at all either.
There's so many characters. We need to start keeping like a tab on them, like create an Excel sheet with every character we're
We,
into, and if they're deceased or alive.
yeah, we need just a master spreadsheet. Anyone that is named character in the show. Last seen season 1, episode 7. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Who knows who we'll see in season 3, but I am excited.
I'm super excited. How long do you think we'll have to wait?
My gosh. A year? I hope. I could wait a year.
I can wait a year. We'll get the boys this summer, and that'll tide us over for a little bit.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we'll go like watch some movies, watch some other TV shows, I guess.
I'm just so invested in Mark and Adam
know.
Eve that like what am I supposed to do without seeing the will they won't they every week?
Just create your own will they won't they, Negan.
It's not a bad idea.
It could be
I can't wait till
oh,
the what are you gonna say?
you, you can be my like real life Meave. Like you and whoever you decide. I'll
I
cheer for
gotcha.
you. I'll cheer for you.
Yeah,
I cheer for Meave.
I'll let you know. I can't wait till the middle-aged version of my future wife finds me and tells me to go pursue her, but as a young person.
I can't wait for that day to happen to you either. I better be the first person you tell.
Yeah. Oh, for sure, for sure. As soon as that like portal starts open, I'll whip out my phone.
Perfect.
But that'll be. I'm looking forward to that. I hopefully sometime within this next year, I guess, before season 3 drops.
Great. I'll be waiting.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode of Viltrumics and Invincible Podcast here on the Aspect Network. Next week, we will begin a rewatch of the series with our review of season 1, episode 1, titled "It's About Time." Just such a classic episode.
Can't
But
wait.
first, Bree, where can people find you online?
You can find me online at I never have this on the ready. I'm so sorry. On Instagram, you can find me at BreAnna_Romero. On TikTok, of course, you can find me at Big Head Bree with 3 E's. Letterboxed, you can find me at BreAnna Romero. And if you want to play Project Makeover, just send me a friend request and I'll play Project Makeover with you. Negan, where can they find you?
You can find me at Negan the Stallion _ on both Instagram and TikTok. And you can find me on Letterboxd at Negan2000. And I have yet to get into Project Makeover, but since we're done with Invincible, I guess maybe I'll look into that to get myself entertained.
Yeah.
But be sure to subscribe here to The Aspect on YouTube and any platform where podcasts are found. Follow us on Twitter/X, Instagram, and TikTok at The Aspect Co. Thanks so much for listening, and
Think, Martin, think!